Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. In the Kishkinda Kandham, ending was very peculiar, very beautiful, in that Sri Rama embraced Hanuman, who has completed his mission of meeting with Sita and also meeting with Ravana in Lanka. When he came back, Rama embraced him because there was no other gift that would be suitable to be given to Hanuman. So now we start Yudha Kandham. As the Yudha Kandham begins, Lord Parameswara is telling Parvati, you have heard until now the beautiful story of Hanuman, how he went to Lanka and came back. Now, hear the wonderful story of Sri Ramachandra fighting the war with the Rakshasas and killing Ravana. So Yudha Kandham is all about the preparation of the war and also detailed descriptions of how the war went on. So as Hanuman was there, Rama said, what Hanuman has accomplished is impossible even for the gods. Who can think of crossing an ocean 100 yojana wide in one stretch? So he flew from one end of the mainland to the island in one flight. And he has just achieved whatever that we need. He came back with all the information that is required. And he has met with Sita Devi and exchanged the message, and also he has brought back the Chudamani, so that we know that he went and completed his message, his mission. So now Rama asked Sugriva, how are we going to cross this ocean? Hanuman could do it, but how are we going to do this crossing the ocean and fight a war in Lanka? So Sugriva said, don't be concerned, Lord. We will cross the ocean and rescue Sita Devi, killing all the Rakshasas. So don't have to worry, because we have you as in the lead. Why don't you use your arrow and ask the god Varuna, the god of the seas, to give us a pathway in the ocean so that we can make a dike in the ocean, we can make a dam in the ocean, and then we can cross it and then fight in Lanka. So he said, I am seeing some good omens, and this is the auspicious time. And Hanuman said, I have actually destroyed 1/4 of their power by putting fire in Lanka. So this is an opportune moment for all of us to get together and also to start the preparation for the war. So Rama asked, what are the main features of Lanka? Then Hanuman goes on to explaining the features of Lanka, and that's a beautiful explanation in itself. On all four sides there are forts. Seven layers of forts are there, and tall walls. There are several towers are there, and several thousands of Rakshasas are keeping vigil all the time. And it is very, very hard to cross those forts, because those are formidable forts, and also there are so many of the Rakshasas, providing security to that area. But I got the benefit of being Vayu's son, so I was able to go wander everywhere and meet with Sita Devi, and that's how I achieved that. And at the end of it, as I reported before, I went amok and destroyed the city square and the buildings and the gardens, and that's how I came back after a meeting with Ravana and conveying the message. And I sent a few people to Lord Yama, and that means I killed a few Rakshasas. And Rama started preparing for the war, and this is a good time to start our journey. So they jumped around and played with each other. The monkeys were enthused because what is going to happen. Nala, the son of the celestial architect Maya, was in charge of making this huge dike, and they all walked down to Mahendra mountain and decided to do all the evening oblations there. And Rama said, okay, I will do oblations first and then ask Varuna to give us the path to build the dike across the ocean. And they also had some apprehension. The sea is full of crocodiles and wild water animals. So how do we cross it? So he uh, went on to preparing this dike, and with the help of so many monkeys. And as long as we are qualified in our body and mind, we can achieve anything that is considered impossible by normal means. As Rama was preparing for the war, Ravana was also preparing. And Ravana was really ashamed that a monkey had come and destroyed all this. And he called all the ministers and chieftains of the army and said, you know what happened in the city when a Vanara came, and all of these things happened because of Sita. And although we kept Sita under the watchful eyes of so many demonesses, still the messenger was able to get through and talk to her and also convey the message of Rama. So we must be very careful. And then he goes on to explaining all the strategic uh, directions one must take in order to prepare for a major endeavor. And I'm not going into all that details. Actually, Ramayana covers it so well that you start developing admiration for Ravana because of the way he explains the strategic directions of the warfare, and also before warfare how to conduct a meeting, how to hold a meeting, and also come to a decision in unison. So after he talked to his ministers and his people, they decided that, yeah, we have to prepare for a major war because Rama will be coming with his army, and his sons, Ravana's sons, Meghanada, Kampana, and all those people, they were also enthused, saying that, okay, we will fight this war and continue the preparation. And some of those ministers were actually telling to him, no, you are such a great warrior, and then you can do anything. You have actually defeated Indra once, and you have defeated so many people, so many, even including Devas, and then you can win this war without any problem. But there were some people amongst the Rakshasas themselves, they were talking more sense out of them, out of sense. They were putting some sense in the situation, saying that Rama is not just a human being, and he is divine, and he can do anything what they can. That time, Kumbhakarna came out of his long sojourn of stupor, and he was sleeping for 6 months because that was his strength and weakness. He would sleep for 6 months, and then the next 6 months he will be very active. And Kumbhakarna, the younger brother of Ravana, he came to know about this, and then he came to the court where Ravana was conducting this strategic meeting. He came and said, I heard that you have abducted Rama's wife, and that is not something you do. You are a mighty king of a major kingdom, and that is so low of you to have abducted Sita. And know that Rama is not an ordinary person. He is Lord Narayana himself. So Sita is Mahalakshmi, and she is born to destroy you. And it is not becoming of a big king to do this. So why don't you go and meet with Rama, and then surrender yourself, and then Rama will be happy to take you under your wing. And all these things will happen to even very knowledgeable people, when they think, and also when the people around you start giving accolades for nothing, they will start feeling that they are invincible, and then they will do fights which are not necessary and also which are not going to be successful. So know that a person who has control over his senses will enjoy this life. And when Kumbhakarna gave this sermon, his own nephew, Indrajit, said, uncle, if you cannot fight, doesn't matter, I'm going to fight. Then came Vibhishana, the youngest brother, and then he also came and talked to Ravana, saying that, don't you're you're playing with the fire here, because Rama is none other than Lord himself. So even I heard from others, Rama is here actually to kill you and annihilate the Rakshasa Vamsa. So he's not Indra or Agni. You seem to have defeated those, but then he is the ultimate reality, and also he's Mahavishnu, the ultimate reality, Narayana. He's the one who can give moksha, and he can give moksha either way, in the proper way or by killing you, and he is capable of doing that. And he is the same person who has taken all the 10 avatars. So Vibhishana is going through the list of avatars Lord Narayana had taken, right from the boar, the Narasimha, Vamana, Parashurama, and then finally he says now he has taken the Rama avatar, and also the aim of this avatar is to annihilate uh, or kill Ravana and re-establish Dharma. So you will not see anyone more compassionate than Sri Rama. So go and surrender yourself, and his ability. He is the one who killed Subahu and Maricha, and he has killed 14,000 men in 3.5 hours, and he has encountered Parashurama himself and won him by devotion. So he knows all the range of activities, including warfare and devotional service. So he encompasses everything a person or an entity can achieve and conduct. So Vibhishana tried all this, but Ravana was not ready to listen to this. And Ravana said, known enemies are not real enemies, but the relatives who pretend to be your well-wishers, they are the real enemies, and you are one of them. And just because you are my younger brother, I'm not killing you. But there is no point in talking to you anymore. So get out of my face. So Vibhishana did the same. So Vibhishana set off from Lanka along with the 4 of his confidants, and straight he went to see Sri Rama. And he also left his own wife and family back in Sri Lanka, thinking that when Rama and his army comes back for the fight, they will be able to help the Lord. So Vibhishana went, and he prostrated in front of Ravana and said, you are my elder brother and you are like my father. So I tried to tell you what is noble and what is to be done, but you are not listening to it. So I'm going to leave you and join Rama. I'm going to surrender myself to Rama and then join him. So Vibhishana goes to Rama, and as soon as Vibhishana and 4 of his confidants went to Rama, Sugriva was not very convinced. He thought Vibhishana is one of Ravana's men, and he is here to fight with Rama or to do some magic tricks, because the Rakshasas or the demons are supposed, or they are very capable of doing black magic. So he thought that may be the case. But then Hanuman went and told Sri Rama, there is a messenger. There is somebody from Rakshasa's side. He is here surrendering unto you. And Rama said caste, creed, color, name, and ability. Those discrimination is not there when it comes to ultimate surrender and bhakti. A protector of a refugee must be virtuous, and he must do everything possible to give him refuge. And he goes on to tell a story of two birds, a couple. The birds were on a tree branch, and then suddenly the storm came and the rain was there, and then there was a hunter who actually shot an arrow, and the uh, she bird fell down. And there was because of rain and everything, rain and storm, the hunter was hungry. And this bird, the he bird, thought, the hunter came under the tree, and he's my guest, and he has come as a refugee, and I should be serving him. So that was the attitude the bird had. So what the bird did was, the bird flew out and then came back with a twig of fire, and then gave it to the hunter, so that the hunter could uh, you know prepare the meat of his own seabird. But the hunter ate the flesh after cooking with the fire provided by the he bird, and but still his hunger was not appeased. So the he bird, what he did was, he also went and jumped into the fire, so that the hunter could appease his hunger. So Rama was saying, if a bird can be that much considerate, what about us? We have to be considerate, and we have to give refuge to Vibhishana. And Vibhishana came and prostrated at Rama's feet. And after hearing about his story and about his discussion with Ravana, Rama decided Rama declared that you are the king of Rakshasas, you are the king of Lanka. So he coronated Vibhishana, and Sugriva did the ceremony. And now two kings are there to support Rama. One, Sugriva, the king of Kishkinda, and Vibhishana, the king in exile of Sri Lanka or Lanka. Now there is another episode that is happening in Lanka. From Lanka, Ravana thought we should send a messenger to Sugriva, saying that Sugriva being the king of Kishkinda, and they had some alliance between King Kishkinda and Lanka when Bali was the king. So he sent Shuka to meet with the Sugriva and said, no, cut all your ties with Rama, because we are allies, and then there is no point in you supporting Rama, because we have been I have been supporting Bali, and the same Bali was supporting me. So now we will support you, and so you don't need the support of a human king. So what is your concern if I had abducted the wife of Rama? And that's not your business. So please go back to Kishkinda and lead your life. And of course, Sugriva was not in the mood to listen to the messenger Suka. And the Vanaras, the monkeys, started tormenting Suka. And they caught hold of him. They tied him up and took him to Rama. Rama said, don't torment him, but then do not release him until I tell you to do so. So Sukha was there. Sukha was also with them as they were doing the construction of the dike across the ocean. So Rama sat down with the Vibhishana, Lakshmana, and other Vanaras and discussed the details of construction. So Rama said, I will approach Varuna, the god of the seas, to help in making a way. But he started meditating upon Varuna. And even after a day of meditation, Varuna didn't appear. So Rama faced eastward, and he put the darba grass, and he started meditating seriously. And still, Varuna was not. He didn't show up, and he didn't do any help to Rama. So Rama was furious, and Rama took his bows and arrows. And immediately everybody knew that if Rama shot this arrow, that will be the end of ocean. And they thought, they were afraid that the ocean will be dried out and the whole world will stop, because all the living creatures, the living beings will be affected because of that. And you know that ocean is very important for the survival of the earth itself. So as soon as he lifted his bow and arrow, Varuna appeared and then prostrated in front of Rama and apologized for his for coming late. And he extolled Rama's grace and magnanimity, chanting a wonderful stuti. It is the Varuna stuti is a beautiful stuti in Yudha Kandham. And he said, I'm dull-witted. Compared to you, I'm dull-witted. And as a dull-witted student, it is okay to be beaten up by the master. And so, whatever punishment you give me, I will take it. But allow me to help you. Oh Rama, I will show you the way to Lanka without delay. Be kind and bless me. So Rama said, I have already taken the arrow from my armor, and then it has to be shot somewhere. So he shot that arrow to the mainland, to the land, and then that place became very pious, and also that place became devoid of anything bad at all in nature, and also no Rakshasas were there. And Rama called Nala, Sugriva, Lakshmana, and all those people, and they started discussing and then deliberating on working on building this dike across the ocean. And there were thousands and thousands of monkeys. They carried big boulders and big pieces of trees, and they started arranging it under the direction of Nala, the son of the celestial architect Maya. They continued their work. The first day they did progress quite a bit. The second day they did much more than that, and like that, with the fourth day it was 22 yojanas and 23 yojanas the next day, and all the Vanaras gathered over the dike and started walking towards the island after the completion of the work in 5 days. And as they walked, Rama climbed up Hanuman's shoulder, and Lakshmana climbed up Angada's shoulder, and then they walked there. As they walked and they were very close to Lanka, Rama stopped and asked the Vanaras to release Shuka. You remember this Shuka, the messenger who came from Ravana, he had to be released, and Rama said, release him and then send him to Ravana and give him the final ultimatum that we are here to fight and destroy Lanka and kill him. So Ravana and Shuka went to Ravana and started telling him how magnanimous was Rama, how kind was he. When I was being attacked by the Vanaras, he is the one who protected me, and he brought me here without any problem, and also he was the compassionate Lord. He started extolling the virtues of Rama, and he actually did a big sermon. Big advice to Ravana, saying that it is only proper for you to surrender to Rama and then send back Sita and get Rama's blessings. And he said, this is the most appropriate thing to do for a king of your stature. You are already an established scholar and everything, but still you have this weakness because of Rajaguna. Rajoguna along with the Tamoguna was prominent in you, and that's why you did. And the Lord will understand that. Go and talk to him and surrender. And then Ravana said, don't give me all that. Tell me about their strength. How is their army? Tell me about their warriors. Then Shuka started explaining, the mighty mighty monkeys and how big they are and all those details he was giving, and Ravana was concerned. Rama is Lord Vishnu and Sita is Yogamaya and Lakshmana is none other than Ananta. That's what Shuka told him. Oh king, think why you are having this rivalry towards them. Our body is made of 5 elements. So he goes on to the full Vedantic discourse of Advaita Vedanta basically. And he also said, think of yourself as Atman, Jivatma, and Lord Rama as Paramatma. And this is a great opportunity for you to meet with him and then surrender unto him. Hearing the discourse of Shuka, Ravana's eyes became red with rage and yelled at him, you are just a servant of mine and you have the audacity to advise me as if you are my guru? How audacious! You have done some service to me in the past, and that is the only reason why I am not killing you. Shuka was frightened and he ran away from there, thinking that this is not a place for me. So now in the Ramayana, the story of Shuka is also given. And story of Shuka is, I'm going to make it short. Shuka was a Brahmana, but then unfortunately he was cursed by sage Agastya because of some misunderstanding, and because of one of the Rakshasas tricked both of them. Vajradamstra was the name of the Rakshasa, and he tricked both of them, and sage Agastya happened to eat some human flesh apparently, and because of that, and inadvertently this Shuka served this meat dish to Agastya, and that was the ploy, or that was a trick played by Vajradamstra, and he sage Agastya cursed him, saying that you go and you become, or in the next life you will be eating flesh and you will be a Rakshasa. And that is the reason why Shuka became a Rakshasa. But then he also gave a redemption from this curse, saying that when you come across when you meet Rama and finish Ravana's message to Rama, and then you will be redeemed. And that is the story of Shuka. Now Malyavan, the grandfather of Ravana, that is the father of Kaikasi. Kaikasi is Ravana's mother, and Kaikasi's father, he is also a very learned Rakshasa. He also said, what you're doing is not right. You better go and surrender to Sri Rama. That is the best course of action for you. But then Ravana was not in the mood to listen. Rama is just a human, and you go and respect him. But then I don't have any respect towards him. So the war begins. So Rama was engulfed by rage after hearing the what happened, and Ravana 10 heads with the crowns. Rama went and shot his arrows, and all the crowns fell down, and the war pursued in a very, very fierce manner, and large group of monkeys surrounded the city of Lanka and destroyed the buildings and the gardens and the trees and the walls and everywhere, and they made a big havoc there. And Ravana decided to meet Sita then, and also to threaten her. And what she did was he went with a replica of Rama's head as if to pretend that Rama was killed by Ravana, and then he brought uh, brought the head of the replica of Rama's head to Sita, and Sita was petrified, and then she was she fell down, but Vibhishana's wife was there as one of the security guards of Sita, and she said, "No, no, no. This is just a trick by the Rakshasas, and they can do all these kind of trickeries. And then don't worry, your lord cannot be defeated by an ordinary Rakshasa." And the war continues with so many and as a last resort of mediation, Rama actually sends Angada to meet with Ravana, but then even that mediation didn't work. So there was a fierce war between the Rakshasas and Vanaras, and there was a use of Nagastra, which was contained by the Garudastra, and the killing of Dhumraksha, Akampana, and so many Rakshasas took place, and those details are in the book. And also, I'm not going into the full details of that war, what happened in the war field, and Ravana enters the battlefield. We will see that in the part 2 of Yudha Kandham. मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वादात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि हरिः ओम्.